world for our victorious Lionesses. That's right, the England women's team are through to the World Cup final after clinching a historic win against the tournament's co-host, Australia. That means the Lionesses became the first English side since 1966 to reach the final. It was a nail-biter of a match, with England securing an early lead from Ella Toone ahead of half-time. Australia's Sam Kerr equalised for the Matildas in the second half, but it wasn't long before England waltzed around the Aussies. Lauren Hemp restored the Lionesses' lead within minutes before Alessia Russo knocked...
To a final feels really good. You don't take anything for granted. It's so hard to reach a final, even though you might be the favourite, but we've seen in this tournament too that there are many favourite teams who are really good, who are not in the knockout or in the group stage already finished their tournament.
Now, the Lionesses will be hoping to keep fans roaring with a repeat of last summer's Euros success and take on the mammoth task of finally bringing football home. It's coming home. Why aren't you all really excited?
Because I'm Scottish. He doesn't like women's football.
Yeah, I'm starting to it.
James doesn't like football at all.
Not really.
Isabel, I don't know.
I'm just a bit like I am going to get into it. I think just in time for the final.
Just in time.
But the thing is, it's
Sunday.
on Sunday, isn't it?
It is.
Which is when people are off. And I think one of the big things about this tournament is the time difference. It's not quite got everybody into the same spirit like with the women's Euros last year.
It starts at 10 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. And look, I think we should need to see it for what it is, which is an amazing performance.
Yes.
They're doing really well. It's great. But can we stop with the comparisons to 1966? It's a different competition. That's the men's competition.
There's not a comparison. No one's comparing. They're just saying it is the last time since then. It's just a fact. It's not a comparison.
But
I see that as a comparison.
It's a comparison.
I can't speak for women, but I'd rather people were saying the England women's football team have made it to the first ever World Cup final.
Yeah.
I think that would be better than saying since 1966, which is comparing it directly to the men's.
It's not comparing it directly. It's just saying it is the first time since then. Mike, you were on air when they won.
I was.
Can you describe the magical moment?
Well, listen, I was not a great fan of watching it this morning, and I'd also predicted last night they wouldn't win. So I didn't think they were good enough. But they actually played really well.
And you?
They actually played really well, and they played a very different game to the one they've played all the way through. And so naturally, suddenly they went 2-1 up. And you're thinking, actually, this would be pretty amazing, because as much as, people may compare and contrast and say, well, women's football's not as great as men's football. It doesn't really matter. The point is they've done a great thing. They've got through. We went down to the fan zone. People were getting very excited down there. They were seeing football's coming home. And you kind of went, this is great. We're in summer. Why not enjoy it? I think it's a bit kind of mealy-mouthed to try and do it down. I think good luck to them. Also, it's always nice to see the Australians getting beaten at anything.
Why not? I think it is genuinely inspirational for girls for playing football.
I think so.
I mean, I'm sure I've got two girls of an age where they would definitely look up to these players, and I think that would encourage them to get more involved in football themselves. So I think absolutely it's an incredible moment in a sport that is still... For women is still, we've got to be honest, relatively young. And it's a historic moment. It's a breakthrough moment, I think. Whatever happens in the final, in a sense, they've already achieved something absolutely magnificent, even if it goes wrong at the final. And it will change the sport for women.
It definitely changes. It gets people excited about it. And I think the person to really doff our caps to is the manager, Serena. She's extraordinary. The way she speaks, the way she inspires, the messages that she gives, the sense of fair play, and also the wanting to. She is Dutch. Yeah. But I think, well done to her for the messages that she's giving. And also, I think the message that she will give the game. Because, you know what? One of the things that comes out of these great tournaments is the inspiration of children, the inspiration of the next generation. Because I think it will probably be after our time that, women's football actually becomes, a huge thing. It's kind of a great thing now.
One of the reasons the Americans always used to be so dominant, and I was quite surprised they got knocked out so early, was that football was the biggest participation sport in American schools, because two of my kids went to school in America, and lots of young girls used to play football, and that pushed it all through to getting professional players, and that's why they were the best women's team in the world for a long time, because they had more years doing it. So, can't be bad, really.
No. Quick reactions. Who do you think is going to win? What's your prediction for Sunday? No point asking you. You get it wrong. JJ, go on.
Yeah, no. If they're like the men's team, they'll lose, because that's what we always do.
Yeah, we're not like the men.
Penalties.
Isabel.
But they win on penalties.
I think they're going to win with
great chance.
quite
I think
well.
they actually will win. They win on penalties as well, this team, unlike England.
I'm going to go for a win.
What about old King Charles? Did he not have something to say?
He did.
about
He
it?
was a bit torn on the issue because, of course, he's head of state for both England and Australia.
Right.
So
And they're already a bit like doubtful.
They
about
are.
whether
Well,
they want to
he
continue
hailed
with
the
that.
mighty Lionesses for their victory over the magnificent Matildas.
Very
sitting on the
diplomatic.
fence there, Charles.
Well,
It's the Welsh Guards
moving
outside
on to
playing
a-
for, sorry.
you're not moving on,
your
are you?
I should have mentioned the Welsh Guards.
Oh, don't start on the Welsh cards. We're going to move on.